Alrighty guys, we're back for 4-color legends, and this is an Outlaws, a Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, this was a suggestion over in the Discord, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. We got 4 Annie Joins up in here. This is a 4-mana legendary enchantment. When it ETBs, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Pretty neat ability, man. So we got a whole bunch of like ETB effects in here. Cards like Malcator, Purity, Overseer. This is a 3-mana 1/1 legendary creature. When it ETBs, you get a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. Then also, at the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control this turn, you get another 3/3 Golem. Pretty cool card, man. I've been meaning to revisit Malcator sooner than later, and well, here we are, I guess. All 4 of them packed in actually one of the main build-arounds, and the other main build-around is actually Roxanne, Starfall Savant. It's a 5-mana 4/3 legendary creature. When it ETBs or attacks, you create a tapped colorless artifact token named Meteorite, and when Meteorite ETBs, it deals 2 damage to any target, and then you can also tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Also, whenever you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token produced. Pretty good card, man. So it's pretty risky playing a bunch of 4-ofs when they're all legendary. But, you know, they are the main build around. But then also, check it out, guys. Mirror Box, finally revisiting it. Okay, so 3-mana artifact. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. We only got a couple of these in here. It does like require an entire turn of setup, especially in a deck like this that doesn't have any early legendaries, right? But also each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1, and then each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature. So like Mirror Box is like one of those cards. When it first came out, it was just so much fun to build around. There was also like another card in Standard that also worked with Mirror Box that I kind of forget right now. It's like is a Gruul card that really worked with Legends. But that's besides the point. Anyways, Mirror Box, one that I've also been meaning to revisit. With all these 4-ofs, getting a Mirror Box on the board just sounds really good. Can you imagine multiple Malcators on the board while you have Annie Joins up out there, or multiple Annie Joins up too? I believe that bottom ability would stack just as well as any other ability. So, okay, what else do we got packed in? We got a bunch of other legendaries. We got a couple Kellan Inquisitive Prodigies. Also another way to get artifacts on the board for that Malcator's bottom ability. We have Elesh Norn fitting with all these ETB effects. That's a 2-of. We also have a couple Annie Flash. On the top end here, it's a 6-mana 4/5 legendary creature with Flash. Rocking Naya colors up there. And when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So that's going to be a great way to grab the Malcator back from the grave after the opponent inevitably removes it. Whenever Annie Flash becomes tapped, you exile up to 2 cards from the top of your library. You may play those cards this turn. Cool. Yeah, overall, just a really neat top-end creature. Maybe on the weaker power level, or jankier power level, I should say, but still a really neat card. Okay, for the removal of the deck, we do have a couple Glass Caskets. We have a couple Touch the Spirit Realm. The bottom channel ability, of course, really works well with all these ETB effects. We do have Depopulate in here, just because I think we're going to need board wipes and early board wipes. And Depopulate isn't even that early nowadays, because sometimes you get to your turn 3 and it's like, well, I guess all the opponent needs is a lightning strike next turn, you know what I mean? So hopefully Depopulate's enough. We do have a little bit of ramp packed in too with Celestus. We also have more ramp with Courier's Briefcase, also just more ETB effects on all these too. Same concept with the Casket and the Touch the Spirit Realm. We also have a Doppelgang packed in. We might want more than one of these, honestly. So many neat things we can do with this. One of the main things too is always keep an eye on what you can copy from the opponent's board state too. Over in the mana base, guys, hopefully I landed on something good. Not going to take the time to actually go over it right now. We do have some honorable mentions too. All of these almost made the cut. Fortune, Loyal Steed, Anam Pakal, Relic of Legends, Ezrim, Borborgamos, and Fibblethip. Let me know, what did I miss? What should have actually been in the honorable mentions? All of these almost made the cut. Okay, guys, I do my dandiest to go ahead and save the more in-depth deck discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first game here. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm actually expecting a little bit. There's so many neat things packed in. We should probably call it janky. We should probably, right? I mean, it's a mirror box deck, so... Opponent goes first. Oh, buddy, this is a risky hand. It's very, very slow. You know what? We'll give it a shot. If we're up against mono red, even if we mulligan and get a faster hand... Ooh, Cabaret Courtyard. We might be okay here. Might be okay for a couple turns to set up. Mirror X, and we'll go Jetmir's Garden. With all these triomes packed in, maybe we should have went for like a domain theme, but then at that point too, we'd probably just go like 5-color legends instead. Glass Casket, huh? Cool. Really good draw. Pick up that Analyst. Or maybe we should have waited to pick up a Nissa. Maybe. Yeah, I guess Nissa would have been a better target, but while we have it, at the very least, Annie Joins Up also hits Nissa too. Okay, we can get our other tap land down. No worries there. And pass it on back. See if the opponent does some instant speed goodies. Oh, Terrace Under. Nice. So they get the Analyst Mill 3 again, which is probably really good for them. Yeah, World Soul's Rage. Gix's Command in here too. Okay, the opponent's deck looks scary to say the least. Alright, let's get the Annie Joins Up down. Yeah, we don't have to play the Mirrex right now. Should probably get Mirrex down next turn for our turn 5, though. Unfortunately, up against Jund colors. Okay, they're going to activate the Analyst before we pop it with the Annie Joins Up. But we had nothing else to do for the turn anyways, so... getting this down and established might be the same reason we go ahead to get Elesh Norn down and established before we try the Roxanne. But at some point, we're going to be in big trouble, man. Ooh, Pillage the Bog. They plot it. X is twice the number of lands you control. One of them into your hand, rest on the bottom. Cool. Oh. That's 14, so they could probably find like a World Soul's Rage off of that or something. Yeah, so we could get a couple Meteorites if we play Roxanne now. Start swinging with it next turn too. But I think we're just going to establish Elesh Norn. Get the Mirrex down too. That way we can start using the Mirrex if we run out of things to play in hand. Some simple spot removal could be huge for the opponent here. It's not a 4-mana Terra Sunder. They only got 3 open right now. But against Jund, could be go for the throw easily. Okay, turn the Earth. They go ahead, put that World Soul's Rage back in the deck, and I didn't see what else they grabbed there. They didn't grab the Terra Sunder. Yeah, both the opponent and I have had a lot of turns for some serious setup, and unfortunately, the opponent's like extra ramp and everything is way scarier than my couple card setup over here. Gix's Command. Okay, there goes the Elesh Norn. Oh, is that what they... Oh, that's one of the cards they put back. Yep, yep. So I wonder if that was a one of. They found it with the Pillage the Bog, which is actually just really sick, honestly. Okay, Kellan. So, I'm going to start with Roxanne. We'll have a ton of mana here. All right, let's see what happens. We'll have 4 open from the Meteorites. Oh, no, no, they're tapped. They're tapped. Okay. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, huh? No, those are tapped Meteorites. Still worthwhile getting the Roxanne down over the Kellan, I would say. We might want to save this headquarters to cycle out, so I'm just going to play the forest for the turn. Yeah, mana fixing's fine and dandy, but I think we have all the mana fixing we need on the board. And with the Meteorite ramp, yeah, I just kind of feel like cycling might be a little better. Roxanne is not going to make it past the turn. They go for the World Soul's Rage, grab the Courtyards. Scary business, man. We're going to have a rough time through here for sure. It's been a while since we've seen a World Soul's Rage deck, and usually when we do see them, usually they are teamer, so it's really neat to see Jund. Jund is kind of like underplayed, in my opinion, right now. Right. Malcator was a really good draw. Let's use the Mirex like this, because we're going to be using a lot of our mana colors here. We want to go ahead and get the Investigate down. So that's 3 for the Malcator, so we'll get another Golem. And then we do not have the 4 for the Kellan, unfortunately, but we do have the 3 for the Headquarters, which I suppose we'll do. We might want to do the Clue instead. It really depends. Probably the Clue, I guess. A couple more Golems. Pretty good stuff, man. Yeah, Malcator was a really sick draw. Big problem, of course, is they don't have haste or anything fancy, and of course we had to wait for the end step to get the other Golems, but still. Okay, Pillage the Bog. Man, 22 cards. They can grab whatever they want. They could easily grab a board wipe here if they have them in the build. Or, like, another Gix's Command. Because they only got 36 cards left in the deck, so the odds of them hitting whatever they need to see is really high here. Dude, this is a card to look out for. I actually really like that addition. This is the second one this is the second one they've played. I wasn't sure if they did anything fancy and like put it back in the deck with the Turn the Earth. Actually, I've been paying enough attention on the opponent's turns. I really should be. Okay, they grabbed a card. Let's see it. If they don't have a board wipe packed in outside of the Gix's Command, oh, they full tap their lands. That's 10 mana that they just tapped. Going to be World Soul's Rage. They go at our face. We're going down to 11. Okay, they grab the Theater, the Courtyard, so they're going up to 27 here. This is scary, man. I guess we'll cycle out the Headquarters for the turn since we have the 3 open mana, and we might want to like pop the Clue to the Kellan when it comes time. If we last that long. Yeah, we'll see, we'll see. Let's go for the cycle instead of the Clue, just to keep more on the board. Mirror Box, huh? Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. And the opponent's gained a lot of life this game. The second Mirex, we could totally... So unfortunately, the bottom ability on Mirror Box is non-token, so... But it does affect combat. So let's get that on the board. Mirror Box. The Malcator gets a buff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the Kellan for the turn. I guess we full swing. I think we might be dead next turn. It's very tempting to actually draw before anything else. I guess we better do that. There's a pretty good chance that we die next turn, so we're just going to skip the Kellan. See what we see on top. Plaza of Heroes. Okay. So, Plaza might be okay. Get down. 1, 2, 3. 3 will be open to protect the Malcator if that's what we want. I think I'm just going to play Mirex, though, and get another Mirex token. We don't need to get the token. We don't need the token on our turn because we don't have the 3 artifacts entering with Malcator anyways. I do have the 4 open for the Kellan. Oh, crap. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get the Kellan down. So we could have played the Plaza instead of the second Mirex, but Nissa comes down. Maestro's Theater, a bit of ramp with the Nissa. They're still not out of basic lands in the deck. Grab another Nissa to hand off the Nissa ability. Drop the Analyst. They still have plenty of mana here, guys. So Analyst, bring all those back. Nissa buffs tremendously. Now turn the Earth Return stuff to their deck. They have 3 World Souls Rage in the grave right now. Opponent is gaining a ton of life, of course, right? But with Nissa's ability 5 times over, they still have 7 open from the mana and 6 open green sources. So if it's World Souls Rage number 4 in hand, then we're dead. Because we're only at 11. Turn the Earth. They're back up to 21. Splendid Reclamation. Holy cow. Okay, first of all, we're alive, but this is a huge amount of life for the opponent, giving them that extra turn. The turn the Earth, probably grabbing a couple of those World Souls Rage. Indeed they did. With 28 cards remaining, they're just hoping that they survive the turn, top deck a World Souls Rage. Or they might have other win conditions in here too. Pretty cool game so far, huh? Oh, Jetmir's Garden. Ew. Okay, we should cycle probably. Annie joins up can come down though, too, and pop the Nissa so they don't have a blocker on the ground. Could draw on the Kellan. I think we cycle first because it could potentially affect combat. Touch the Spirit Realm. Okay. Okay. Get the extra ETB on the Malcator, maybe at the end of their turn or something. I think it's going to be the Annie joins up here. We'll still have 2 mana open. Okay, full swing. And now if they find removal... Well, first of all, I'm not going to activate the Kellan ability, because I want the 2 mana on the side, and we obviously don't want to get rid of Mirror Box. So totally fine here, just to have Kellan as some extra damage. Brings the opponent down to 8. Let's get the Plaza down as well. Kind of something. Just playing extra land just wasn't a priority for me for the turn. Nissa comes down. What I want to do is I want to blink that Malcator. Another Nissa. GG opponent. Hey, we got there, guys. Against a scary deck, too. Oh my goodness. Seriously, this was a really sick Jund build, rocking what we usually see in Temur. Opponent had a lot of really great early plays, but both decks were allowing each other to have some setup. And so, yeah. Now what we're going to do, like, let's say the opponent finds like a board wipe off the top or something. I don't know exactly what was in the opponent's deck, but let's pretend that they grab a board wipe. Then touch the Spirit Realm. We could have used that channel ability, exiled the Malcator, and then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So Malcator would come back, we'd get a 3/3, times another 3/3, and then another 3/3. So we'd get 3 3/3s. So we'd still have what? We'd have 11 damage on the board still. If for some reason they found a board, oh, yeah. I believe that's how that would have worked. The Annie joins up should stack off of each other. It would have been pretty sick to actually see in that game, or like test it out in that game. But that is totally fine. I completely understand the concede from the opponent. When I was going over this deck at the beginning, for some reason it's kind of a hard list to talk about. Like a lot of little combos going on. It should technically be like a mid-range combo deck. Opponent goes first. Got some early ramp here. Not too much mana in hand, but that should be fine. We should have... Oh, I forget how much mana we have packed in. That's something I should have checked at the beginning. Alright, I'm going to give it a shot. Since we have some decent ramp, if we see a 3rd off the top... Oh, nice. Okay. No 1-drop. I'm just going to get this down then. Get the Stormcarved Coast down tapped. Get the Forest down. Briefcase next turn. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat. That'll probably grab the briefcase because of pacing here. Deep Cavern Bat proves itself to be an incredible tempo card. Although, if they do grab briefcase, I suppose we'll have the Kellan adventure side for next turn, which, that's decent enough. Like investigate, it's sorcery speed, so we can't keep it open. They actually grabbed the Kellan. Okay. Interesting. I guess, yeah. Because if they grabbed like an Annie joins up, we have the second one. That could still pop the bat anyways. Annie joins up being 5 damage is pretty significant. Like if that said 4 damage, then I think there's too many things that get around that 4 damage. So Rafine probably buffs the Deep Cavern Bat to a 2-2. Do we stay on track, ramp with Celestus, keep the briefcase treasure, or do we go right into the Annie joins up? We actually cannot because Rafine has that ward 1. Go tap land, okay. I think we're going to save the treasure for now. Annie joins up could also pop the Deep Cavern Bat. Keeping Rafine around for the extra turn isn't terrible. It's 1 less attacker for next turn too. Okay. Okay, we do have quite a few options here, but I am just gonna go Annie joins up number 1. Take out the Deep Cavern Bat. Because less attackers on the board when Rafine actually gets to swing is actually just not half bad. I'm not certain when we need to get the Celestus down for that extra ramp, but it depends what we see off the top. And depends what the opponent does too, obviously. But next turn, we could get the garden down tapped, use the rest of our 3 mana for the Celestus. Okay, Stormcarved Coast. Kellan could also come down as a creature, but very likely spot removal from these Esper lists. I think now we'll take the turn. So Rafine is going to get above the 5 damage from the Annie joins up next turn. That's actually a problem, isn't it? But we don't have the extra ward anyways, so now I guess we take the turn to establish. I'm just going to keep the blocker on the ground instead of running into a Wandering Emperor because I don't think this 1 damage is actually going to do much for us here. Another alternate route there, instead of taking the turn to get the tapped land down, could have played the coast, played Celestus, had the 2 open for the Kellan's adventure side. Kellan becomes exiled, so if they end up playing like another Deep Cavern Bat, they wouldn't be able to pick up the creature. So the Rafine is likely... Oh, nice. Okay, they keep the Rafine at 5, so the Annie joins up still has a chance here. However, while the Annie joins up still has a chance, I'm not sure we have a chance, right? I'm not seeing a whole lot in this hand right now. I'm just going to chump on the ground while we have the chump still. This is very much just a deck that runs a lot of spot removal. They got rid of a cut down earlier because they're not concerned about the 1/1. They're going to untap with the Virtue, which does get the Rafine above the 5 damage. Okay, okay. Yep, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. We have 6 mana. We could investigate, get the Kellan down. Kellan doesn't block well here. Rafine being an absolute menace. The Ward 1 actually holding us up quite a bit there. Annie joins up number 2 could come down, pop the Knight at the very least, and get the other briefcase down. Either way, Virtue's probably going to pull them ahead pretty good. Okay, let's try to stay in it as long as possible. We'll get briefcase down, we'll pop the Knight. Annie joins up number 2. We'll go ahead and keep the new one, why not? Okay. Another chump blocker for the ground. Keeping the board a little bit clear when Rafine is on the board, at the very least helps against its connive ability. But once they've established with the Virtue of Loyalty, it's only a matter of time. Look at that, they discard a Wandering Emperor. That's how you know they have another one in hand, right? Oh, they just go for the bat. They're going to grab that Kellan anyways. So it's like I said earlier then, if we would have taken that other turn to use the adventure side, that would have been an exile, so a second bat couldn't have taken that. Wow, anti-flash. There's nothing to grab. Oh no, oh no, no, it is a permanent. It is a permanent with mana value 3 or less. So we can grab the briefcase. That's a pretty good flash for the opponent's turn, but everything on the opponent's board is actually in the air anyways. We could use the briefcase ability to draw 3. We do have the mana for it. Let's see what the opponent ends up doing for the turn. I believe we have an extra turn here, just one extra turn. I'll take that action. Another anti-flash, so of course we'll get rid of one. They go for that swing. At the end of the turn, we'll get the anti-flash down. Go on to the bat. See if they buff it to a 4/4. This is one that I really feel I could have played out much better, I believe. A lot of little decisions. I still think optimized plays would have still leaned towards the opponent, just based on what everything is. All right, let's get this anti-flash down. Instead of drawing 3 on the briefcase, let's just play the cool card and see what happens. We still have 2 open, playing around a make disappear at the very least. We only have 1 card to hit, which happens to be a briefcase. Go for the throw, opponent. We get the ETB on the briefcase. Because the anti-joins up was on the board, of course, that was going to happen twice, but we didn't have too much in the grave anyways. So mirror box, huh? So let's start with the draw on the briefcase, see what happens here. Like I said, once they establish that virtue. Ooh, Elesh, Norn, Roxanne. Okay. Okay. So Roxanne earlier. No, probably not. See, we were going to really struggle with that Rafine, I think. Get the mirror box down, just show the opponent what else is in the list, and then let them swing on in. GG, buddy. My goodness. Every time I go up against Esper Legends, I always say it, but yeah, it's still very, very scary. Very tough to beat. This one's one of the ones running wedding announcement too. Nice. Makes sense when it's the virtue side of things as well. I'm trying to think, like, there's like just like 2 or 3 different versions of Esper Legends. They all follow like the same path, but not all of them run the wedding announcement, right? I'm trying to think right now. See, overall, like, we see the deck pop up every now and then, but I guess overall not too much. Not as much as you would think with how powerful it still is. All right, guys, 28 minutes in. We can totally get 1 or 2 more games in easily. And hey, while I have you here in the middle of the video, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. It does go a very long way in helping out the channel and the community. Huh. Depopulate would have been huge for us in that last game. Oh yeah, even if we could have just hit that 1 Rafine, just a 1-for-1, getting around the ward. I mean, I guess there's a reason we have all 4 of them. Let's give it a shot, dude. Let's give it a shot. Lots and lots of things we could draw into here. Having the whole artifact theme with the Malcator is actually just really cool. Hey, there's the guy. There he is. That's funny. All right, maybe we take a second to establish the mirror box next turn. The thing about the mirror box is, of course, it's an artifact too, so is the briefcase, so all that works. Okay, cut down number 1, hitting our 1/1 instead of the Malcator is actually pretty good. And Kellan produces the artifacts as well, so. Taking the turn for the Malcator, letting it get picked up by a go for the throat isn't actually great. But maybe just, yeah, maybe we just take the turn. Get the mirror box down. Sure. I'm okay with that. Like, they got the swamp open, they got the field open, like, just running right into a go for the throat with the Malcator doesn't seem great. Of course, we'd have the 3/3 on the board too, though. Go ahead, pop our Mirax, and we're going to grab a blue, actually. Yeah, we need a blue source. I didn't even notice that. Take action. We don't have a blue source in here, guys. Oh, no. Or a blue basic source. So I guess it's going to be green. And we won't have double white. Okay, plains, I guess. For the Depopulate, which will probably be more important. Because in our hand, we don't need double green. So the blue right now is the Briefcase. Oh, crap. I'm getting a little punished based on the greedy mana base here. Put the Malcator down now. Sure, why not? Okay. Oh, Plaza mana fix, guys. What am I saying, man? Dude, it's like I've never even played before. I'm going to keep that Briefcase open for now. Let's get the Malcator down. It's a 2/2. We get a 3/3. 3/3 doesn't get picked up by Go for the Throat, thankfully. Oh my goodness, dude. Just like completely overlooking Plaza for absolutely no reason. Like when I was looking at the board and when they popped the Demolition Field, I was like, oh crap, dude, we don't have a blue source. Yeah, no, of course, Plaza's in here for a reason. It's in here to mana fix for our legendaries. That's funny, man. Roxanne. Hi. Preacher of the Schism becomes a horrific blocker for the opponent. I think we're going to get Courier's Briefcase down. That's our green. And then go for the Kellan Adventure, which helps us investigate. Only going to be 2 artifacts again, and we don't have a great swing. It's a sorcery speed, though. We pop one of the Briefcases, which means we won't have Roxanne next turn unless we see a mana. Full swing here is a block into Malcator, so I guess we go no attacks. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. It kind of feels like we're in a very tricky spot when we shouldn't be. Duress hits that Depopulate, easy peasy. I guess Depopulate isn't the worst because we do have an established board with creatures, so... Ooh, except Depopulate would be pretty good against a Trespasser Preacher of the Schism board. Oh no, dude. Alright. So Kellan might come down next turn. We might need to consider popping the clue off the swing if Kellan survives. Speaking of the swing, they give us an optional trade into the Preacher with our tokens. We lose them both. They melt through the Citizen. Death Touch eats the rest. I'm just going to take it for now. I think there should be a better way through. Doppelgang. We're going to need more mana, though. For sure. Alright, let's get the Kellan down. I guess we could start with the swing from the 3/3. I'm pretty sure they take this. We're going to be taking some damage next turn, too, because this gets rid of some of our blocks. They could chump with the 1/1, too. They do end up chumping. They figure the same thing that I usually figure, right? Like, chump while you have the chump before the opponent removes the stuff anyways. Which makes a lot of sense. Kellan comes down as a 4/5, though, because of the mirror box. So mana off the top would be pretty good, but if we don't see it and they kill the Kellan, we'll just spend the mana on the clue because we're going to be pretty desperate to get this Roxanne down to start doing something with the meteorites. They go... Oh. Virtue's Adventure here. They scorn our Malcator, and they drop a Bitter Triumph on the Kellan. Dude, we're in big trouble. So it's like I said last turn, right? We chump while we have the creatures to chump, I suppose. We could also see a Depopulate off the top. It's a 4 of in the build. Depopulate off the top. Oh, we don't have mana, though. Oh, no. the mana this game's been confusing me, I suppose, right? I'm like, needed a blue source, and it was on the plaza, and I needed it to populate, but now I need a 4th land. All right, let's see if we can find that 4th land on the clue. We do find it, but now because of how I tapped the plaza for the clue, we don't have the Kellan's sorcery side. Oopsie daisies, guys. So it goes to nighttime. It's kind of my fault. We could have tapped. No. We wouldn't have had it. Never mind. Because the land that we saw off the top was a plains anyway. So if I would have tapped Jetmir's Garden in the plains to keep the plaza open, we still wouldn't have had the Kellan unless we saw a forest off the top. Still something to consider, though. Like, we could have seen a forest instead of a plain, so I should have played around that just in case. Because it's nighttime, we don't have the trade there, but again, we chump while we have the chump because now they don't know that we have the depopulate. So if it's duress number 2, then I guess things just worked out a little bit too much in the opponent's favor here. If it's not, ooh, this is going to be a really good depopulate, and our 5th mana too, which we're definitely going to play Soaring City as a mana. Because even more mana off the top wouldn't be bad because we have Doppelgang. And X's 2 on Doppelgang takes 8 mana. All right. Really good board wipe. Pulls us back in a little bit, but the opponent has a ton of cards in hand. Really depends, though, man. I think we could get there. I do. Especially if we start seeing a lot more mana, too. Not bad. Not bad. That's 6 on the board. Better ramp with the Roxanne. Gotta remember the meteor comes in tapped. We'll just do the 2 damage to the opponent's face. Hopefully the Bloodletter doesn't end us this turn somehow. Like, the opponent could be rocking some sick combo. There's that one card that deals a bunch of damage. Oh, Rush of the Dead. Well, GG opponent. Yeah, it was the combo build then. Darn, guys, honestly, I think that could have started leaning towards us pretty well. I think that Depopulate was huge off the top. So what they ended up doing there is target opponent loses half their life rounded up. And then a Bloodletter, of course, if the opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. So GG opponent. If they missed that and it went into our next turn, I don't know, man. I honestly, I feel like that could have really started to lean towards us. We got Yuma, Proud Protector, for an older format? Question mark? What is this? What is that symbol? I have no idea, dude. Let me know in the comments. I'm assuming it's not for standard, based on that symbol, but I guess you never know, right? A end of video pack, let's do it. Actually, end of video? Maybe we should go one more. Yeah, dude, let's go one more game, actually. Dust Animus. Cool, this is one I haven't played with yet. So many cards. So many cards to try out, guys. Oh, man. Seriously, the way that they dropped, like, the big score extra cards and everything with this, it really does just feel like it was just a humongous set of just a lot of cool things, luckily, but just, like, almost an overwhelming amount of things to try. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Bring the best. I changed my mind. Bring some jank to the table. Let's have a good time with this one. What's neat about having the anti-flash on the top end is when the opponent does find removal for like a lot of our other things that work with all like the ETB effects and whatnot too, those all happen to be permanents too. So maybe something to consider for this list is actually a little bit of discard. Probably not though. Anti-flash on the top end actually isn't the main build around. It's mainly in here because Malcator has a huge target. Malcator dies to whatever the opponent's playing anyways, Anti-Flash brings it back. We get the ETB back and all that other fun stuff. So, yeah, I think we're going to keep this hand. Opponent has arrived. Drops a swamp. Ew. Nah, that's okay, opponent. Oh, no. Double swamp. Double ew. Okay, Tenacious Underdog. We're going to go right into the removal. Elesh Norn. That's pretty good, isn't it? I'm going to go into the ramp. If Elesh Norn can establish before the Glass Casket, we'll get double removal on it. Depending on what they play, of course. Life of Toshiro. +2? No, they decide to... yeah, that makes more sense. If they went +2, we could have just blocked. So popping this actually gets the 3 through then. The Life of Toshiro tells me this is very likely mono black aggro then, especially with that underdog. So Kellan, we just like play Jetmir's Garden for the turn. It's tapped, but then we'll have the 5th open next turn if we don't see an untapped source on top. We don't have the Kellan's ability because our blue source is the Briefcase, which we're saving for the ramp into the Elesh Norn. I don't want to play the Casket because I want Elesh Norn on the board. That's too greedy. We should play the Casket. We should, because Elesh Norn might just get picked up by spot removal right away anyways. So while we have it, we're going to try it. What do they got? They cut down the underdog so it gets around the exile. Not bad, opponent. Go for the life gain because it does nothing else for now. 4th mana comes down. Shieldred right on time. All right, let's not get too afraid of the Shieldred right now. Stay on task here. And attempt the Elesh Norn. If they pop the Elesh Norn, get some extra creatures on the board with Life of Toshiro, then the Depopulate becomes more devastating. Mirrorbox could be cool too, of course. Elesh Norn. Let's do it. It's a 4/7, but we can't block the Shieldred because of the Death Touch. Okay. Life of Toshiro, nice. So that'll eventually flip too. Kind of getting around these Depopulates. I'd love for them to play another 2-drop before the end here. They go for the swing. We're just gonna take it, dude. That might be incredibly risky, but a chump block with Elesh Norn just feels really bad. Okay. Okay, I was kind of hoping for something else to chump block with. We're going down to 7. We don't have Kellan, because we don't have a blue source on this board. So if we chumped, I guess the Depopulate still could have been a thing, because now we're going to be forced to chump. We're totally going to be forced to chump with our poor Elesh Norn, guys. Oh, no. Oh, no. That feels pretty bad, but at least we have the chance of surviving the turn. And then... well, they're plugging it onto the Shieldred, so instead of buffing wide, now we definitely block that Shieldred. Although spot removal ends the game. No spot removal, that's good news. Goodbye, Elesh Norn. We tried, buddy, we tried. Oh, and they go ahead and play around a board wide, or they just don't have extra creatures in hand. Going down to 5 here. Spara's Headquarters, that's a blue source and a 6 mana for Anti-Flash when it comes time. Let's drop the Depopulate, and we are probably dead, as they can go ahead and bring back the Tenacious Underdog for a 3 swing. Life of Toshiro comes out. Honestly, could just be Life of Toshiro number 3. No, it can't be. That's 4 mana. I mean, we're probably still dead because of the underdog, though. Oh, dude, the opponent really pinned us down here. Also, down to 2 means if we can establish some blockers on this board, then they could always drop, like, Shieldred number 2 as well. With Anti-Flash, we could bring back the Briefcase, flash it down, get a good block maybe. Either way, one of their cards gets through regardless. So it's going to be Malcator. Get a 3/3 so we can block both of their creatures, and then we don't have another blue source for the Kellan. Actually, the blue sources today, we really have to talk about that in the final thoughts, guys. So, Virtue, but now they don't have the 4. Oh, Liliana. Okay, doubling down on removal. Hey, good game, opponent. Holy cow, the mono blacklists really did a thing against this deck. 25% total deck win rate, 4 games. I gotta be 100% with you. We went into it saying like it should be janky, right? But I kind of feel like we got a little unlucky. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. Did we get unlucky? Could I have played it out a little bit better too? Or was it just how the deck was set up? Let's double check here and we'll see how much luck was on our side. Let's see. So as far as blue sources go, that was my 3rd Dust Animus, by the way. Also in the comments, let me know what you think about Summertime Red. I got my little popsicle ready to go. Okay, blue sources. The deck. The deck is 21% blue. We're 59% white, 50% green, 29% red. So you guys can see here that we have a splash of red and a splash of blue. And the splash of blue is in here for Malcator, Kellan, and Doppelgang. And that's it. Oh, Soaring City, which was actually really greedy because we got hit by a demolition field and we wanted a blue source. Maybe these should just be islands, and they could easily be. The Soaring City Crucible, I would keep the Who Endures in the seat, but the Soaring City Crucible could easily just be Mountain Island, and you probably wouldn't be too sad about that. However, we're already splashing blue and splashing red in here anyways. Having the utility lands is just another reason to say this is another way to splash the color in here, right? So, in other words, another reason to splash blue is Soaring City, right? So, with the double Kellans, these were in our hand very often. In the adventure side, I probably could have taken advantage of that a little bit better than what I did today. There's definitely some order of play that I just feel like I wasn't doing optimally, but the deck was working well enough in and of itself, but we definitely still got obliterated, which again, it might have come down to me, so let me know in the comments for sure. And also just anywhere where you think it might have just been a little misplay too. I do like going back and looking and saying, oh yeah, against that, like we should have assumed that this was in their hand or so-and-so, right? So, if that makes sense. So the Malcator, dude. I'm surprised it was actually a little bit tricky to pull off the bottom ability for the extra golem. Still a really neat concept to have the ETB effects in here with the Annie joins up in the Roxanne. Oh, and thank you again for the suggestion over in the Discord. I made a lot of changes to this build. Hopefully, some of those changes were neat or neat enough, right? And I really heavily leaned into the whole Roxanne, Malcator, and Annie joins up side of things. It's actually it's just a really neat concept to me. The whole suggested deck list was really cool. So thank you again for the suggestion. All right, what else do we got to say here? I want to take a look at the mana base to see where the blue is for the Malcator and the Kellan. Those are legendary, so Plaza of Heroes deals with that. Of course, Soaring City is a blue source in here too. That's that. We have the splash of the red and the splash of the blue, both on the Stormcarved Coast. And if you look here, nothing in the deck actually requires Izzet colors. So when you're tapping for either a blue or a red on the coast, you're not sitting there complaining that you actually need the other color off of the coast as well. So that's my reasoning behind the Stormcarved Coast. Also, it's a late game land too, which I think is very important to a mid-range style of deck. So there's that blue. And then we also have Spara's headquarters in here too to splash the blue. And the tapped lands weren't too bad today, were they? We really weren't complaining too much, although maybe this is too much. 8 tapped lands in the deck without too much early removal. We got a couple Glass Casket and whatnot, but by the time it gets to turn 4, you're really hoping that Depopulate does a lot for you. Against that one deck, that Duress, if you're playing mono black, dude, definitely consider Duress as like a 1 or 2 of. I've been seeing it pop up more and more, And I don't know if I've ever seen it like miss or like miss significantly, right? Like even against mono red, you're not too sad to take a lightning strike out of the opponent's hand or something. That duress really hit its mark with that first Depopulate, really good from the opponent there. As for the splash of red, it's very similar. Splashing red for the Annie joins up the Roxanne and the Annie Flash. We have the Crucible, of course the Stormcarved Coast, Jetmir's Garden, and Plaza of Heroes. So there's the splash. The rest is Selesnya, and heavily leaning towards Selesnya if you look at the build. Double white and Depopulate and everything too. Elesh Norn, man, I would have loved to see this do more. There's so many neat little combos. If we would have had Elesh Norn with Annie joins up and like drop a Malcator or something, that just seems so cool to me. We were able to see Mirbox on the board with the double Annie joins up, which was pretty cool. I would have loved to actually play the rest of that game out just to see it pop off a little bit. Mirex also kind of helping us mana fix too on the turn that it comes out. So I don't know if it's the mana necessarily. I mean, it's a 4-color deck, so every now and then you're gonna struggle sometimes, right? Like 4 colors is still a lot. And there's not a whole lot of mana fixing here in the actual mana base, the way like 5-color Domain does with Stomper and other cards that grab basics out of the deck too. So, yep, all that is something to consider at the very least. Guys, I hope you had fun today with this deck list. I know I had fun, even though we got a little bit obliterated, especially by the mono black lists. My goodness. So had we seen things in a better order too? I don't know. Yeah, I think we could have started leaning those games in our, maybe not the last game, but some of those games, I think we could have started leaning towards us, which I think speaks to the mid-range side of this deck, right? You want to have like an engine built in that mid-game that just completely outruns and outpaces the opponent's engine. I kind of felt that here, just a little bit. But when I put it up on Aether Hub, definitely labeling it as jank. I also maybe put it on the do not craft list too. Only if you have a lot of these cards. There's a lot of rares and a lot of mythics packed in. So, and a few of them are rotating out too, like Mirbox is rotating soon enough. Celestus, it's out of here, dude. Depopulate, yep. Depopulate will have the replacement in what's it called? No More Witnesses or something like that. But with Depopulate, if you have Malcator on the board, at the very least, you're drawing an extra card too when you wipe the board, and then maybe bring it back with the Annie Flash later on as well. A lot of neat little things in here, man. I could probably talk for another 10 minutes about this one, but I'm not going to. All right, let me know in the comments, what would you add or take out, and what could we have played a little bit better today? And if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I see you in the next video.